or why? Let's ride.
What are you doing?
Sport! This is not a good day. I'm devastated. In my 20 plus years of watching football, I've never been this embarrassed in my entire life. Russell Wilson had the game of his career. And he blew it. God damn you, Brandon Aubrey, for having a strong leg. I've never been this mad after a loss, and if you were a Cowboy fan, God bless you for not talking to me. Because I probably would have texted somebody, and you would have gotten up. And while this music is appropriate for how I'm feeling right now, I started therapy this past Thursday. Just because of what happened on Sunday. Honestly, I have an alter ego over this nonsense. And this is just how I feel about Giants football. Ladies and gentlemen,
Well,
ladies and gentlemen, that was the cold open that we have for this episode. It's called episode 16, I Need Therapy. And if you're a Giants fan and you saw what happened this past Sunday, God bless you. You got two Giants fans here stealing it, but also a Steelers fan feeling the pain as well from week 2. Matt Sirianni, Kevin Zelikovic, Alec Nava. Gentlemen, despite that, I don't know, whatever that was, that cold open, how are you guys doing?
I'm feeling great, Matt. I got the new setup. I have a webcam, external speakers, so I won't be on my phone anymore. So I'm going to be looking like this all the time from now on. So I'm feeling good.
There we go. Here we go. Let's go, Kev.
All right, Kev. Alec, how are you, man?
Good. Feeling good.
Okay. So we're going to start off with football, but before we get into the scores, we got to get into the therapy part of it all, because there's a reason why I call this episode I Need Therapy. And who better to talk to my co-host about what happened than my alter ego, Marcus Stewart, PhD in therapy.
Marcus Stewart.
Wow.
Okay, y'all. My name is Marcus Stewart. I'm a PhD in Hazlet, New Jersey. I have a degree in management, but I decided to go to therapy because I want to help people with their problems. My colleague Matt Sirianni has decided that therapy is important for this time of year, especially because football, people get so erratic with their emotions. If you're from Texas right now, please don't call my number. That'd be 1-2-3-4-5-6-7-8-9-0. Anyway, I'm gonna.
Now you look like Tommy DeVito's agent.
Anyway, I'm gonna talk to my first colleague right now. He's a Giants fan himself who used to live in Jersey. Kevin Zelikovic. So obviously the Giants lost that first game 40-37. Obviously it was a tough blow, but Kevin, how you feeling right now?
I mean, obviously I'm cooled off. I mean, after it's all blown over, and the next game is tomorrow. But I was overall, I was happy with the way the Giants played. I think overall that was probably the best game I've ever seen the Giants play in quite some time, ever since that Eli was the quarterback. That's how long it's been since I've seen a good game from that. Obviously the negatives are like big negatives. I obviously think that James Hudson needs to be cut now because I'm sorry, 4 straight penalties, 5 on that first drive alone is unacceptable. Like, I don't know what his issue is. I'm like slapping a guy down. I mean, like, come on, be more disciplined than that. I'm like, okay, whatever. Maybe it was just like emotions riling. Okay, whatever. Then he false starts not once but twice, and like goes after a defender, and then he just keep someone down on their head. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm telling you right now, I know it probably didn't mean anything, but I do think that first drive and those forced penalties cost the Giants the entire game, because they had 15 penalties that whole entire game. If they're more disciplined and if they don't commit that much penalties, the Giants would have won that game. But I digress. Russell Wilson played the game of his life, 450 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, and only the Giants will find a way to destroy that stat. I thought Malik Neighbors played outstanding. I thought Wan'Dale played great. I think Wan'Dale also had a career game as well. I mean, I did not expect him to have that many targets, receptions, and receiving yards. I thought Wan'Dale played great. I thought the defensive line, I thought they played really good. I thought that the O-line played great, actually. Our line was giving Russell Wilson plenty of time to throw the ball, plenty of time to get out of the pocket, and Russ is not afraid to throw the deep ball. You've seen it. The first game that didn't reflect that, but this past game against the Cowboys definitely did. And I'm curious to see how he's going to play tomorrow on Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs. But also at the same time, I think the secondary I thought was okay for the most part, but I think there is some things they got to tweak out. I thought Drew Phillips had a great game. I thought Deontay Banks had an okay game. I think he needs to be a little better. Paulson Adebo didn't do it for me. I would have liked to see a little bit more from him. Same with Tyler Nubin. I would have liked to see a little bit more from him, but I get 2 thumbs up for Drew Phillips. He did really, really good. And also a big shout out to Marcus Bowe for taking over James Hudson when they finally benched him. He played great as an emergency left tackle in place of him. The good news is that Andrew Thomas is most likely going to return tomorrow left tackle, so that's going to be a big boost in the offensive line. But I also think Bowe has earned a spot, at least on the offensive line, for wherever the position needs to be. I think he's better on the left side after that last game. I know he's had more reps at right guard and right tackle in camp, but I think the left side, what I've seen from him, he played great, outstanding. So I really like him. Scatterboo was really good.
Yeah.
Singletary was barely involved in the game, and that's fine. I would like to see Scatterboo and Tracy be that 1-2 punch in there. And that last touchdown pass to Malik Neighbors, I was down like a little kid when that happened. I was like, let's go. I was slamming everything. I was and then I was like, wait, game's not over yet. 20 seconds left. I've seen this before. And then Brandon Aubrey, who's the greatest kicker on the planet, it's a 64-yard field goal. I'm like, come on. Only the Giants can lose a game on a 60-plus yard field goal. I mean, it's happened multiple times. It happened when Graham Gano was on the Panthers still and not on our team. He kicked a 61-yarder to beat us. It happened in the game against the Eagles. Jake Elliott had a 61-yarder as well.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Who else? I'm sure I'm missing one. But
the list goes on and on.
It list goes on and on. And the thing is, it only happens to the Giants. They lose the 60-plus yard field goals. And overtime, I thought the Giants, that first drive I thought was okay. I don't know what Russell Wilson was trying to do with that screen pass. He held on to the ball and I think he wanted to let go, but to second guess himself or whatever, and then just let go. I thought it was an incomplete pass, but it was a pass and a live ball. But luckily it went out of bounds, so who cares? And then that last pass to Neighbors, I don't know what that was. I think it was just miscommunication on the route, and then he wanted to get to Neighbors. Would have been fine, if Russell Wilson threw it the right route and the right way, but he threw it to a Cowboys defender, and then all they had to do was get to within field goal distance. And 47 is a chip shot for Brandon Aubrey. But so I was very disappointed, and I was obviously very angry. I talked with you after the game, so you know how pissed I was. But Giants got to win that game, man. I mean, it's. But also, I hate the way that Cowboys fans are praising this and oh, Dak is the best quarterback ever. Giants suck. We're gonna win the Super Bowl. Get out of here. Get out of here. Let's face it. If the Giants had half of those 15 penalties, Giants would have won that game easily. I'm calling it right now. They would have won that game. It's literally James Hudson wasn't the sole reason we lost, but is a main part of why we lost. And being undisciplined in the penalty department and not being as aggressive towards the latter stretch of the game. Now, there were some instances where Brian Dable decided to go for it instead of kicking the field goal. I thought there were a couple of times where he should have kicked the field goal instead of going for it, because at least that would have ended up in points. But we only lost by 3 points. So you do the math there. If James Hudson doesn't commit those penalties, that cost maybe a touchdown because I think we're inside 20 at that point. Like when he committed some of those penalties, that big catch by Wandale Robinson to get himself in first and goal negated by another stupid James Hudson penalty.
I know.
You got to remain disciplined overall, not just one player. Got to remain disciplined. I think 15 penalties is like the most penalties the Giants have had in the game in like decades. So that's how bad it was. Like you have to remain disciplined, especially tomorrow night against the Chiefs. Now, I was gonna, if you told me a few weeks ago that the Giants were gonna beat the Chiefs, I would say no chance. But like now, after that Cowboys game and maybe exposing Cowboys secondary a little bit, I know they didn't have Deron Bland because he was hurt, but still. This Chiefs secondary is different. This whole entire Chiefs team is different. I wouldn't be surprised if Giants did keep it close and possibly win. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if they actually keep it close against the Chiefs. And keep in mind, there's this stat that the Chiefs have never beaten the Giants on the road. They're the only team the Chiefs have not beat on the road is the Giants.
That's right.
They're 0-8, I think, against the Giants of all time on the road to face them.
Yes.
So hopefully the Giants can make it 0-9. I'm not holding my breath or anything, but I was just so disappointed that like we ended up losing that game. Also, some of the calls from the refs did not help at all.
No,
I have no idea what's considered roughing the passer anymore. I hate that penalty with a passion. I think it's the worst penalty in all of sports because like what is roughing the passer? To me, roughing the passer, the way it's described or the way that they explained it to us was that if you're a defender, if you land on top of the quarterback and put all your weight on him, fine. That's roughing the passer. I get that. But if you're just pushing the quarterback as he's releasing the ball, that should not be flagged for roughing the passer. I'm sorry. It happened in the Giants game. It even happened in the Eagles-Chiefs game when that happened. It was against the Eagles.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. I'm sorry. It's very skewed and vague the way that penalty is described and worded. Like, I don't like that at all. Like, it's just dumb. But I digress. I'm proud of the way the Giants played. Hopefully they can play that way tomorrow. But that was just such a gut punch, man.
Honestly, it was a big kick in the nuts.
Yeah.
That's the most appropriate way that I can put it. And I took my therapy goggles off because I needed to talk appropriately about this.
Yeah.
Third down defensive penalties. Killer.
Yeah. Killed him.
George Pickens did nothing in regulation except draw flags. That was annoying.
Yeah.
James Hudson, like you mentioned before, why was he like lack of discipline? And those first two drives, we should have gotten in the end zone. We were right there.
Yep.
And it's like, come on, like this happens almost every time we play a high caliber team or a team that we should be competing competitively against, where we're on the doorstep but can't punch it in. It's annoying. And listen, Russell Wilson had one of the better games of his career at this stage of his career. And they still came up short. And I hate hearing Cowboy fans say, oh, we didn't have Deron Bland and we still beat you. We're great. Like, go off. Scratch yourselves. Like, I'm done. And then it didn't help either to show the Cowboys press conference or locker room speech after the game where they were going crazy after every big play that happened. And then also, from now on, whenever I watch a Cowboy game, I'm turning the volume on mute. I can't take that anymore. All these commentators and broadcasters who call Cowboy games are so biased.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And also, I should have turned it on mute because Joe Davis is the Dodgers play-by-play guy. Hate that guy with a passion. So it's like
what he did to you.
You bring that's a good point you bring up, Matt. It's nothing against Joe Davis, the commentator, but it seems like every single time he calls a New York game, whenever it's the Giants or Yankees. Yes. They always end up seem to lose. Like that's just a thing I've noticed. So I don't know. It's nothing against him. I think he's an outstanding broadcaster.
I think he is too.
But every time he calls a New York sports game, whether it's a Giants game or whether it's a Yankees game, they just always seem to lose. I don't know what it is, dude. I just don't know what. Also, another quick thing. Can we fire Shane Bowen, please?
Oh, he got chewed out after the game. He got chewed out.
I am tired of his soft zone baby garbage every single time it's third down. He doesn't blitz at all. He just goes soft zone, doesn't go man to man. We held CeeDee Lamb to 0 touchdowns, but he made up for it by getting big third down receptions along with George Pickens to win that game. I hate the soft zone nonsense. Like, be aggressive defensively. That's why you have guys there that can guard these receivers, and you have a big defensive line. That's another thing. there's so few times have we seen Abdul Carter, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Brian Burns, all four of those guys, our best defensive linemen, on the field together.
Yeah.
It's like, I know the percentage went up from the first game to this game, but you got to keep them on the field as long as possible. These guys are going to get after your quarterback. This is what the Giants are built on. It's like good defenses, if nothing else. And now you finally have a good defensive line, maybe not the best secondary, but you have a good defensive line that can get after a quarterback. And I think even still, like they had I think 2 or 3 sacks on Dak, and that's great. I love that. But you got to keep those guys on the field at the same time.
Exactly. It's annoying. Like Shane Bowen did not utilize his defensive personnel right at all. And overtime was a disaster. That was when George Pickens actually started to make plays. Other than that, he was drawing penalties. And I hate those. I hate receivers who do that. If you're a receiver who can't get open and draws pass interference, God bless you. But that just shows your lack of talent. And to me, it's just like that was a gut punch. Because I hate the Cowboys. You both know I hate the Cowboys. And
I hate them.
It was like that was the game they definitely should have won. And we haven't won in Dallas in 9 years.
Since Eli was the quarterback.
Yeah,
that's how long
it was
been.
Dak's rookie year. It was Dak's rookie year.
You guys tell me about gut punches.
Anyway.
All right, your turn, Alec.
Hold on. Let me set up. All right, Marcus Stewart back here again. I have another client to talk to. His name is Alec. He's a Steeler fan. And apparently things didn't go his way on Sunday when the Steelers took on the Seahawks. Mr. Nava, please tell me what your story is today.
All right. For years, I've been convinced that the Steelers are an elite defensive unit. Well, we were over in the past, but now that mattress sort of faded. But to the point of where we're giving up big running play after big running play, don't get me wrong, Kenneth Walker is a talented running back. But like this, where he runs for over 100 yards on 13 carries, this is a cause for alarm because already our run defense is falling apart and our defense is starting to look like they're showing their age already. That we're getting older back there, so we're losing that luster. And the fact that we allow 30-plus points on back-to-back games, this isn't even a trend anymore. It's a pattern dating back to last year, which we're giving up over 25 points per game over the last 10 games. Can you expect to win football games like that and the modern day NFL focuses on offense? Now, I'm going to say, I'm not going to fall for the Aaron Rodgers trap, in which the honeymoon phase is going to be good at first, but then it's going to get ugly. But oh my goodness, this game was ugly by his standards. 203 passing yards. Okay, that's one part. But here's the ugly part. 2 picks. QBR 30.9. 58.0 passer rating. The running game couldn't get established. And our only consistent receiver is DK Metcalf. And even so, that's not saying much because, yes, while we did get a wide receiver 1, we need to see from him that consistency that he showed in his sophomore year because he's lacked that consistency every year ever since. We need to see more from him. And Calvin Austin. Yes, I like what we saw from him in the first week of the season. But, dude, you got to let Pat Freiermuth catch that touchdown. Don't bat the ball directly onto Devin Witherspoon's hands for interception. That pick was not on Rodgers because Austin thought it was going to be getting in the way of finding that he can get a touchdown, but instead he gets in the way of Freiermuth and turns a touchdown into an interception. And then Seattle goes off on our defense. And Sam Darnold's a talented quarterback himself, as evidenced by his revival with Minnesota. And he did dice up our defense all right, which, in honesty, that he had a good game. But honestly, our defense should not be getting diced up the way it did. If we continue to get diced up, what makes people think that we have a chance against the Patriots? This is our boogeyman that we're going up against. We haven't beat them at their home turf in 17 years.
Whoa.
The last time we beat them was 2018. Even so, it didn't matter because the Patriots won the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
So what are we doing as an organization? Come on, man. And Caleb Johnson, I don't want to see him returning kickoffs again. because this man decided to bobble a kick and then completely give up on the play, putting himself in the same humiliation chamber that James Hudson was. Good gracious.
Honestly, the Steelers, in all honesty, they're a team that has that has age all written all over them. And listen, Mike Tomlin's a good coach. He's established that for the last 18 years, but the team did not come ready to play on Sunday. They really were not.
Absolutely not.
Like lack of preparation, lack of communication, no organization whatsoever. It was a mess. And Aaron Rodgers ran into a couple of sacks, which was also not good.
Yeah, you can't keep yourself running into sacks and expect to win every time. You gotta move away from the pressure and run away from the pursuing rushers. Where's the development as well? Keanu Benton's take a step back every year. We need Derek Harmon on the field more than ever.
Yeah, and that's where your top prospect, like your top draft pick, comes into play. You need some youth on that defensive front. It's a shame. Like, I wanted to be happy coming into today. I saw Aaron Judge hit a home run before we actually came on, but this needed to be said. I want to do that little cold open. And actually, to conclude the whole Marcus Stewart thing. Okay, y'all. That's just a little bit of my capabilities as a therapist. If you want to call me and talk to me about your football troubles, my number again is 1-2-3-4-5-6-7-8-9-0. I charge $200 an hour, and I don't accept health insurance. I'm all good. I'm all good. I accept whatever. You can give me the D-tier insurance plan, and I'll still work out for you, but you still got to pay me $200 an hour. My best days are Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Thursdays and Fridays are reserved for football, and so are Saturdays too. Thank you so much. Marcus Stewart signing out. Dude, I do not recommend Marcus Stewart by any means.
Don't
Don't
actually.
Don't actually.
Don't actually.
Don't.
In all seriousness, like.
Too funny.
Oh my!
In all seriousness, if you need therapy for football, now is the perfect time to do it. I was literally fine, and then Sunday happened, and I called the therapist like on Monday. I'm like, I need some help. I'm like, okay, what's your problem? I'm like, football.
Yeah, basically.
Oh my god. All right. Anyway, back to the more professional side of things. We have a bunch of teams who are 2-0. But I want to get into Monday. Hold on. I want to get into Thursday Night Football with the Dolphins and Bills first. Going into this game, Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer were on the hot seat because a lot of people said that they were, on the cusp of being fired because of the lack of progress they made over the last few years. Tua hasn't really done anything. The Dolphins haven't done anything in the playoffs. They start 0-2, and they go into Buffalo. You figured they were going to get waxed. They were an 11.5-point dog. They did cover, and they did stay with the Bills blow for blow. However, the result did not go their way. This is where I kind of want to talk to you guys real briefly before we get into our 2-0s and 0-2s. What do you think this game accomplished for Mike McDaniel? Do you think he's going to stick around till the season's end? Do you think that he'll get fired mid-season if things don't change? I'm going to start with Alec first.
All right, for Miami, you go with that. So I'll give him credit. In a short week with the loud noise and around the team and with him on the hot seat, he got his guys ready to play. They were impressive on the first drive, leading in the scoring drive on the touchdown. They tied up a brilliantly called and time possession, bleeding out clock, showing fight, forcing stops of a short-handed defense, and corners. Most of their corners going down with injury, so they had to rely on Ethan Bonner as one of their corners. That doesn't mean that McDaniel's off the hot seat, but I can't say they didn't improve.
Right.
Because they show fight, even for this being a division game, which is to the credit of division games, they are wonky. Tua was all right in the first three quarters. And Devon Achane showed his prowess. Ollie Gordon looked good and runs too. And they actually gave the Bills some fits. Josh Allen was forced to throw on short passes more times than not because they took away the deep option and they forced him to go methodical and efficient with his throws to take away the explosive play. If you take a look at the passing charts, people would lose their minds if it was Jalen Hurts having this passing chart.
Yes.
But
Yes.
because it is Josh Allen, not a lot of people are going to bat an eye. To Josh Allen's credit, that underhanded shovel pass was beautiful.
Yes.
I'll give him that.
It's so good.
But in the fourth quarter, that's when things fell apart. It was tied at 21 up until Zach Sealer decided to go Leroy Jenkins on Cameron Johnston to give the Bills new life, and everything just fell apart. Tua was picked off with pressure on his face, and the Bills were forcing him to make throws on the run, which he's not good at doing anymore. And it was all Bills from there ever since the Zach Sealer roughing the punter penalty, which was completely boneheaded. It was the right call there. Buffalo came out on top, and good for them. I'll say there is a realistic chance they get the 1 seed in the AFC this year.
I love the way the Buffalo Bills have been playing. And you're right. They did get a little bit of a scare from the Miami Dolphins. I think that they improved. Like, listen, Thursday Night Football, Sunday to Thursday, short week's notice, not a lot of practice, a bunch of media heading your way. You're in prime time. Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime, but it's still an important game nonetheless. And I'll give Tua credit. He did what he had to do. I think Mike McDaniel coached the team very well. That interception late in the fourth quarter, I think, was what did them in. Because at that point, the Bills were not going to give the ball back. Yes, they found their mojo at that point. And Josh Allen played beautifully as well. Also, James Cook did me dirty. But we'll get to that in a little bit. But honestly, the Bills are going to be a threat to begin with in the AFC, especially now that the Chiefs are on this 0-2 start. I think the Bills can take advantage of that. Maybe, like Alex said, maybe we'll be the 1 seed. Kevin, what were your thoughts on what transpired on Thursday night?
Yeah, I mean, to mirror exactly what Alex said, I thought that Tua did what he had to do. I thought that Mike McDaniel had a greatly coached game. I think he's safe for now, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the first coaches to be fired by the season's end. I thought that the Dolphins had a great running game with Achane and Ollie Gordon getting a couple touchdowns, which I didn't really expect. I thought that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle were getting themselves open whenever they had to, and Tua was able to make nice passes along with it. The defense for Dolphins surprised me definitely a little bit, giving Josh Allen and the offensive line some fits early on. And it was a closer game than expected, obviously. But the Bills ultimately did what the Bills do, which was close out the game. And Josh Allen did what he needed to do. But also, at the same time, I think Mike McDaniel, he's safe for now. But he's got to be consistent with his coaching, because week 1 looked like it was a complete disaster. But week 2 looked okay. At least you were close in a tough, tight battle against a division rival and a Super Bowl contender in the Buffalo Bills. And Alec, I mean, I would probably agree with him saying that Bills could end up being the 1 seed in the AFC. We'll have to see about that. I mean, Chiefs and Ravens are still a thing right now, but the Chiefs obviously starting 0-2, and then we'll see if they start. It's nothing to be concerned about if you're a Chiefs fan, but if they lose to the Giants tomorrow and they start 0-3, then you have some concerns there. But the Ravens, I feel like the Ravens are going to go back to the AFC divisional round, and then we'll see if they can finally get over the hump and get themselves to an AFC championship. But for the Bills, they did what they had to do, but Dolphins, a slight surprise.
See, what separates good coaches from great coaches is how you deal with adversity.
Yeah.
How you deal with pressure. And I thought Mike McDaniel, like we all said, handled himself well in this situation. There were fans calling for his head. Frank the Tank was going on rants. It was just like what you didn't want, the noise, it was there. But he handled it well. I think, like you guys said, he's safe for now. But if things don't turn around and they don't go 9-8 or 10-7, then I think you can see a change.
Yeah.
But you also have to make the playoffs as well. That's also
Absolutely.
very important.
Yep.
Okay. Now, I'm going to go to the NFL. We're going to stick to the NFL because we got to go through our 0-2s and 2-0s. In the AFC, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 undefeateds. And the NFC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams are undefeated. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through our best 2-0 team, our best 0-2 team. Bills and Dolphins don't count because they played their 3-0 and 0-3. But we could use that if we want to. So my best 2-0 team is the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is surprising, but They're winning close games against competitive opponents. The Cowboys game, it was more competitive than it should have been, but they won it. They held the Cowboys and did what they needed to. Yes, CeeDee Lamb dropped a lot of passes late in the game, but they did what they had to do. But then to go into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs in front of a raucous crowd, I think that just established that the team's going to be a threat in the NFC and throughout the NFL to come. Now, they're looking to ban the tush push after a couple of penalties were ensued after that particular formation. But I think that's something that will cross the bridge when we get there because it's only week 3. But that's my favorite 2-0 team. My least favorite 0-2 team, and this is actually going to be quite a shocker. I'm going to say the Browns. Well, not really a shocker. The Browns got nothing going. Joe Flacco came off his couch to play football again and make some dough. I respect the hell out of him for it. But the Browns got nothing going with their offense. Their defense, besides Myles Garrett, is subpar. They play the Packers on Sunday. I don't know how lopsided of a game that's going to be, but I can sense Micah Parsons is probably going to feast that game. And realistically, this Browns team, they're just not going anywhere. And honestly, you mentioned Mike McDaniel could be fired. I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Stefanski is the first coach to be fired this year, mid-season. It could definitely happen. Like, ever since the COVID season, this team hasn't done anything to give fans a reason to be proud of. And I think that there has to be change in Cleveland. So now I'm going to come to Kevin. Who's your favorite 2-0 team and who's the worst 0-2 team?
Well, I mean, you bring up the best 2-0 team. I would agree with you and say the Eagles, but like I'm going to give you a little bit of a shocker. My most surprising 2-0 team, I think, is the Colts. Honestly, to start off 2-0 with Daniel Jones being their quarterback. I mean, we know how much like he was like on and off with the Giants and like how like inconsistent he can be. But I think he's found like new life on this Colts team, and I think he's done what he needs to do. I think he's like second or third in the league currently in passing yards.
Yeah,
very
Ross.
surprising. Yeah, very surprising. And I think like he's flourishing with the Colts right now. I know that they probably should have lost last game because of that penalty that the Broncos committed on that last second field goal.
Leverage,
But,
yeah.
Yes. But I think the Colts have definitely surprised me, still being 2-0. 0-2, I mean, like, yeah, Browns are bad, but like I think that's expected. Obviously, the unexpected one is the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs are like, you don't anticipate the Chiefs starting this way. And I correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the Chiefs have ever started 0-2 with Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback.
So the last time the Chiefs started 0-2, believe it or not, was in 2014, Andy Reid's second year as Chiefs head coach.
Yeah. So like they've never started 0-2 under Pat Mahomes, and like Pat Mahomes is supposed to be, like the next Brady. I mean, as people are saying, but like they have not finished and closed out games. That's the bottom line there. They're doing like okay and like doing good defensively, and I think Mahomes is still Mahomes. I think Travis Kelce has been a little bit disappointing. He hasn't been getting as much targets because he's been covered very well. I know both Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice are hurt, and you have to rely on guys like Juju Smith-Schuster and Hollywood Brown, and Kelce is your main top-end receivers. But at the same time, like if you're the Chiefs, if you're a Super Bowl contender every year, you've got to find ways to close out and finish games. And I think like if you're a Chiefs fan, this is kind of unacceptable because what you've been seeing out of Pat Mahomes and this era of Chiefs football, like it's something you don't want to see. So I would say like in terms of most surprising 2-0 team is the Colts, but I would agree with you with the best 2-0 team is the Eagles. As far as 0-2 is concerned, I mean like Browns, I can kind of expect them to be 0-2. I would even say that the Titans are probably worse in that regard, but I would say the most surprising 0-2 team is definitely the Chiefs.
That's a good one. The Chiefs, I'll say this. The Eagle game was going to be a close call. The Charger one was a little bit of a surprise. Mm-hmm. But
that's fair.
Justin Herbert has played very, very well. I can't wait till we cross that bridge about Justin Herbert. Alec, who is your best 2-0 team and who is the worst 0-2 team in your opinion?
I'll agree with you both on the surprising ones of the 0-2 being the Chiefs and the most surprising being the Colts. But I'll go and deviate from you both on what you're saying about the best 2-0 team. I think it's the Packers who were the best 2-0 team. When they got Micah Parsons, it gave them a boost defensively. It opens up all the other rushers going after quarterbacks. And so far, they've impressed. Now, let's put it like this. What if the Commanders are a good team? And what if the Lions are a good team? That's a terrifying thought to think of because when the Lions and the Commanders are two good teams and the Packers are able to beat them both effortlessly, that's a terrifying thought. Because of Micah boosting the defense. You have Jordan Love putting up all these outstanding numbers under center. You get a true wide receiver one of the future in Matthew Golden. The stats haven't been there just yet, but over time it could be. Now, the keywords being could be. Tucker Kraft got an injury scare, but he was able to stay upright. Romeo Dobbs, Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed. This receiver core is outstanding. All of them. And even though this year the Packers don't have their true wide receiver one, they're functioning more of what the Bills do. Everybody eats. And they're making sure that everybody eats, including Josh Jacobs, who's their bell cow running back.
Yes.
Easily. The Packers are to be taken seriously. And if they can beat the Lions and Commanders effortlessly, they could be giving the Eagles a run for their money. The worst 0-2 team, I have to say, it's not the Saints because Kellen Moore has impressed me.
Yes.
I would have said the Panthers, but they almost came back on the Cardinals most impressively. I got to say the Titans. Wolf.
Titans,
To say imagine what Cam Ward could do with a solid offensive line, a competent head coach, and with an elite defense with him. Imagine what it could have been. He dazzled his talents on that touchdown pass to Alec over the end zone. The talent is there. Unfortunately, he's in the worst situation possible. Already 2 games in, and they're already talking about he needs to breathe from this organization. Calm down. This organization needs to realize that they need a major overhaul at several key areas around the team so that they can properly develop him. Tony Pollard's solid. Keep him there. But you need a new head coach. You need an overhaul at the offensive line, and you need clear upgrades over to the defensive side. But because Brian Callahan is not the guy to do it as the head coach.
Yeah, Brian Callahan's on the hot seat for sure. Like, Brian Callahan's supposed to be an offensive genius, and he is. And Cam Ward looks like a shell of himself when he was at the University of Miami. Like, I have not seen what this kid could do. And think of it, the Titans' defense has hung in there in some parts of the game. Obviously, the Ram game they got embarrassed, but they got 4 turnovers over the Broncos, and their offense couldn't score.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, that's pitiful. Although Ward did have that one highlight where he could have won an award that one of the YouTubers in the NFL YouTube community calls the Only Mahomes Award.
Oh my God!
I mean,
and also for the Titans, Tyler Lockett is being completely underutilized on that team because, you saw how good he was with Seattle. Like, he was the wide receiver too for such a long time, and now to go from that to a Titans team where he's barely getting thrown the ball, that's just very disappointing. It's like when Keenan Allen went to the Bears, he was barely utilized, and now he's back home with the Chargers, and what do you know? He starts to be a top end receiver for them. So I don't like that they're underutilizing Lockett.
I don't like that at all.
Tennessee, do him a favor and send him back to Seattle.
Yeah.
It's kind of you mentioned the Keenan Allen of it all. He's been money ever since he came back to the Chargers. And Justin Herbert loves having him back.
Oh, yeah. That's where he belongs. I mean, that's where he thrives. It's just with that. Sometimes, a player just does so good with one franchise, so much so that when he leaves, he wants to come back. I think, look at baseball, for example. Carlos Correa did basically nothing with the Twins, and he went back to the Astros because that was the only team he would waive his full no-trade clause for. Sometimes, a player just has a special connection with the team. Lillard went back to the Blazers. I mean, not for to win a championship or anything, but to go back because that's where he had his best days. So, Keenan Allen, it's no different.
Okay. Now we got to get to fresh spreads here. Now, I don't have the week 2 recap of fresh spreads in front of me, but I will pat myself on the back for saying the Giants covered my +5.5. I'll pat myself on the back for that because you guys thought I was crazy when I said that, but look what happened. Anyway, you know how we do fresh spreads by now. We pick games based on the spread, and then we'll tally up at the end of the week. All right, we're going to go from the 1 o'clock games to the Monday night games. We're going to start off with Packers and Browns. Packers -8.5. Kev?
Packers I see it's set -7.5 now, so it went down.
Okay, so you're seeing it differently. Yeah. Okay.
I'd say Packers do cover that game easily. I think that who was it that had a great game? Tucker Kraft. He had a big injury scare. That the recent update is that like the risk was that he wasn't going to play, but he's cleared to play now from the last time I checked it. So I anticipate him to have a big game. I also anticipate the Packers have tight coverage on the Browns receivers. So I say Packers do cover that fairly easily, win by maybe like 10 points.
Okay, so the Packers cover. Alec?
Same here. Packers cover easily, and I feel Jordan Love's going to have a big game to his receivers, especially Tucker Kraft.
Okay, I'm going the Packers to cover easily as well. I think this team, no matter what, I think that regardless of Tucker Kraft's stats, this team's going to mollywop the Browns.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we got the Indianapolis Colts at the Tennessee Titans. Colts minus 4.5. Kev?
Again, this went down one. It went to minus 3.5 now from what I'm seeing on ESPN.
You're using a different platform. I use Yahoo
I'm
Sports.
using ESPN, yeah. So I see it's minus 3.5 for the Colts on ESPN. So again, I think Colts win, and I think they cover fairly easily. Titans. I mean, I hate to like be like a Debbie Downer on like Cam Ward or anything, because I think he's been playing fine as like the number 1 overall draft pick this past draft, but like his team is not meshing well together, and like the Colts just are. So I think Colts maybe win by a touchdown. But I think they should easily cover that 3.5.
Okay. Alec?
I'll be going with Indiana Jones and the Gridiron Warfare.
I'll go with the Colts as well. I'm actually proud of Daniel Jones and what he's become in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I am too.
Okay. Next up, we got the fighting Jake Brownings against the fighting Carson Wentz. I'm talking Bengals and Vikings. Vikings are a 3-point favorite according to Yahoo Sports. Kev?
I mean, this is a more interesting matchup now because of the two injuries to both Joe Burrow and J.J. McCarthy. Now it's Browning against Carson Wentz. So, I mean, in all fairness, I thought Browning played well down the stretch whenever Burrow got benched and got hurt. Also, we haven't seen Carson Wentz play in like quite some time. But I do anticipate that Wentz is at least going to give Justin Jefferson the ball this time, because he's been very disappointing as far as fantasy is concerned. I have him, if you couldn't tell. But I do think that this game will come down to defense, and I think it's really tough on the call, because right now from what I have, they have Vikings minus 5.5. I think that's the Justin Jefferson factor of it all. So it's Chase against Jefferson. So it's a really tough one to call. But when you factor in quarterback play into it, I do think that maybe Wentz has a better slight edge, I would say. But the defense, I would say Bengals are a tad better. So I think that the Bengals are plus 5.5. So I'll say slightly Bengals.
Okay. Alec?
This is a teeter-totter game. And, this game is going to be defined by wide receiver play. How quarterbacks go is another question entirely. Jake Browning is quietly one of the better backup quarterbacks in the NFL. Undrafted, and he actually started his career with the Vikings, by the way. Carson Wentz, we haven't seen him play in meaningful games in a while. The last time we saw him was Week 18 last year against the Broncos, and let's just forget about that game.
Yeah.
This game is a different story, because now he has an elite wideout with him, and that could be used to his advantage. Browning also has an elite wideout of his own, but also we're living in a universe where the Bengals are actually decent on defense.
Yeah.
Decent's the right word. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the switch to Al Golden is maybe paying off, but I trust Brian Flores as a defensive coordinator more than anything. And, I may say Vikings win, but by 1 point.
Vikings by a point, so they don't cover. I'm going to go with the Bengals as well. I think they pull up probably the upset as far as spreads are concerned. People don't realize Jake Browning has a small sample size, but he's played very well in that small amount of time that he started, in relief of Joe Burrow. So I'm going with the Bengals. Next up, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the New England Patriots. Pittsburgh, a 2-point favorite according to Yahoo Sports. Yep. Kevin?
Now, according to ESPN, they're minus 1.5. So about
also went down a little bit. Okay.
In this case. I think Steelers do cover this. Patriots, they've looked disappointing. I think that they're like, because we all were gassing up the Patriots like before the season started with new head coach Mike Vrabel and all the new acquisitions that they made in the offseason with how much cap space that they have. But they haven't been playing to their expectations. And I think this game against the Steelers team, I mean, it's going to depend. It really is going to depend on, I think, the running back play is the way this game is going to be determined. Like, can Ramondre Stevenson have a great game? I mean, can other guys step up and perform? I do think that the Steelers have the slight edge when it comes to defense. I'm not sure how Alec feels about that, but the way I'm seeing it, I think the Steelers overall have a better defensive scheme than the Patriots do. But the Patriots could surprise and possibly slightly upset the Steelers in this case. But I still like the Steelers in this. I think that they cover, but I don't think they cover by much. I think they maybe win by a field goal there.
Okay, Alec.
Whenever I hear we're going up against the Patriots, I get PTSD every time. It doesn't matter if we're going up against Tom Brady or Bill Belichick. I get PTSD. Marcus, I get PTSD every time whenever we have to face them. Now, look, Christian Gonzalez is going to be out, though we're down Joey Porter Jr. and two other players, Deshaun Elliott being one of them. Our running game could be seeing an uptick of utilization because Jaylen Warren could have a breakout game against this Patriots defense. But the other key is, how much are the Patriots going to rely on Ramondre Stevenson, or if they're going to split on Trevion Henderson? And how effective is Drake May going to be against this Steeler defense? But given what I'm seeing from our defense, there's a chance that May could break out here. But honestly, hate to say it, but Patriots.
I'm going to go with the Patriots as well. And I think the reason why is because they show what they're capable of in Miami. And I love the way this defense has been playing. I think Drake May has improved. The Steelers, I think Aaron Rodgers is officially going to show his age in week 3, unfortunately. Next up, we got the Rams at the Eagles. Eagles are 3.5-point favorite. Listen to this. The Rams in their last 11 games have gone 9-2. Their only 2 losses were against the Philadelphia Eagles. And this counts playoffs. Kevin.
Yeah, Eagles, it's listed here as -3.5. I'm actually shocked that it's that low because I think the odds makers are giving the Rams a lot of credit. I think because of that stat and because of like how great they're playing, even with some guys like gone and with the expectations that they have. I think Rams make it close, and I do think the Eagles win, but I don't think the Eagles cover. I don't. I think that the Rams, I think Eagles win only by 3 points. So I say Eagles win, but they don't cover.
Okay, barely they don't cover. Alec?
Mm-hmm. You point out a good stat that the only 2 losses the Rams had over their last 11 games were to the Eagles. Now, the Rams did play good games over the first 2 weeks. If the first week they held off a Texans team that had no offensive line, but this was going to be a highly defensive contest from the get-go. Week 2, they embarrassed the Tennessee Titans after the Titans gave them a scare. Now, this will be close, but I can't imagine I cannot see a world where the Eagles drop this one and don't cover at all. Eagles by 5 points.
I'm going to say the Eagles win on a field goal, so I'm going to say they don't cover by a half a point. Next up, we got the New York Jets with Tyrod Taylor as quarterback at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers minus 6.5. Kev?
Jets have had flashes of like good play and good and bad play. We saw it in week 1 in that tight game against the Steelers where the Steelers were able to pull out the victory. But I know I think Justin Fields is hurt right now, so that might affect their quarterback play. The Buccaneers have looked solid. I mean, like, I hate the fact that like Emeka Egbuka and Bucky Irving are stealing targets from my boy Mike Evans because it's costing me fantasy. But I think the Buccaneers, especially at home, it's minus 6.5 at my end. I think they cover that fairly easily. I think they win by a couple of touchdowns. And I do factor into the play that Justin Fields is hurt. I think the secondary has been okay for the Jets. I mean, the Sauce Gardner of it all. But I think Buccaneers cover this one easy.
Okay, Alec?
Easy win and cover for the Buccaneers. Well, Jets fans, just pray.
Seriously, just pray. I'm going with the Buccaneers minus 6.5 as well. Okay, next game is, and this is still 1 o'clock late. The Marcus Mariota-led Commanders are at home against the Raiders. The Commanders are a 3-point favorite. Kevin.
So it bumped up by double, more than double on ESPN. It says that Commanders are minus 6.5-point favorite.
Damn.
Now,
what?
I think because that Marcus Mariota is the quarterback and not Jane Daniels, I'll say Raiders pull off the upset here. I pick them at plus 6.5. At plus 6.5. Actually, no, they changed it. It's 2.5 now. So 2.5.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, they changed. I should change it. My bad. So I say Raiders plus 2.5. I think it'll be closer because of the way that the Commanders' defense plays. I think that Genty is going to have a breakout game. I think he's going to have a better game than he did against the Chargers because the Chargers completely stopped him. Commanders might be different, but I do think that the Raiders are able to pull off the upset here simply because of the quarterback situation with Mariota playing.
All right, Alec.
Now, the Commanders did say that Marcus Mariota looks like a more confident quarterback over at the practices. The most notable usage that he got before he got to Washington and before that one season with the Falcons was when he was used on gadget plays with the Raiders. Now that he's in Washington, he's filling in important situations. He did that twice last year, filling in for an injured Jaden Daniels. And now he has to do it again for a full game. And he thrived filling in for Daniels through injury. I think this could be the case again. In a tight game, I'll say Commanders win by field goal.
I'm going to go with that same thing. I'm thinking the Commanders win by a field goal. I think Marcus Mariota, who's also played for the Raiders in the past, I think new organization. I think Pete Carroll, God bless him at 74, still running down the sidelines. I mean, God bless him. I can't imagine running down the sidelines at age 44. But still, Pete Carroll's making it work. But I'm taking the Commanders. Next up, we got the Atlanta Falcons at the Carolina Panthers. Falcons a 5.5-point favorite on the road according to Yahoo Sports. Kevin.
On ESPN, it's minus 4.5. So Falcons, I think they cover. I think they had a tough loss that first game. I think Bijan is going to eat. I think that the Falcons passing game, I think Penix is looking like he's become a better passer so far. Panthers, I feel like they're going to be one of those teams that doesn't really go anywhere this season. So Falcons, I cover them easily. I think they should be winning by 2 scores at least.
All right, Alec.
Side note, I would want to run down the sidelines for my players if they get a big touchdown. Now, this is a division game, and yes, they can get wonky at times. So Michael Penix Jr., as Kevin said, he is progressing as a passer and is going through his reads more effectively throughout these times. The defense is also stepping up week after week. Carolina almost pulled off that comeback against Arizona, which should give Bryce Young and Ted McMillan some confidence, and Chuba Hubbard as well. What is a defense still in Carolina? That's the big question, because it doesn't seem anybody can play defense except J.C. Horn, who may or may not be reliable on a full season basis because of injuries. But here, it is a division game. But because this is in Charlotte, the home of the Panthers, I have to say, and this could be a shocker, Panthers pull off the upset.
Whoa.
Wow. By the way, Panthers, once again, thank you for Brian Burns. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Panther fans, for that. I'm going to go with the Falcons. By the way, Parker Rome was the new kicker. They released Younghoe Koo after week 1. So that's unfortunate. They changed kickers. And Younghoe Koo is such a good kicker.
Oh, man.
He is. That sucks. I'm surprised he got benched. Yeah.
Yeah, the AAF is getting phased out, and it's saddening.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. We're going to go to an AFC South matchup. This is the Houston Texans. They were 0-2 to begin the year against the Jaguars, who are 1-1. We got to read through these last several quick. Jaguars are 1.5-point favorite at home. Kevin?
Also 1.5-point favorite here, Jaguars.
Hey.
I think Texans do get their first win against the Jaguars. It's no disrespect to them, but I just think that the Texans overall as a team are more well equipped to beat a team like the Jaguars, because the Texans did make it interesting towards the later half of the game, but they lost by only 1 point against the Bucs in that one game. But I think they should be easily upsetting that. So I take them plus 1.5.
Okay, Alec.
Jacksonville historically has had a tough time beating Houston over the past, and now the Texans are desperate for their first win, because they almost had that against the Buccaneers, only to have it ripped out from their hearts at the very last moment by a Baker Mayfield amped up after C.J. Gardner-Johnson was talking trash towards him, and then he decides to go ham on them. Pause. And now, with the Texans traveling on the road to Duval, the Texans, of course, they still boast a top-tier defense. However, they need to fix offensive line issues, because the fact of the matter is, those O-line issues have persisted since Deshaun Watson, by the way. But here, against the Jaguars, this could be a get-right game, so I am picking Houston.
You're going to your roots.
H-Town
down. I'm going with the Texans as well to get their first win of the year and cover the spread. Next up, we got the Denver Broncos at the Los Angeles Chargers. Khalil Mack is headed to the IR with a dislocated elbow, but the Chargers are 3-point favorite. Okay.
2.5 point on my end for the Chargers.
Okay.
This one's gonna be a closer one than I expected, I think, for people, because simply not because of the Khalil Mack injury, although that's a big part of it. The Broncos secondary, I think, is solid, but the Chargers defense is also very good. They've shown it this past couple weeks. The Broncos, I mean, I'm gonna be shocked if they don't make this a close game. I think the Chargers do win and they do cover, but I don't think by much, because I've been very disappointed in Cortland Sutton. Troy Franklin is like proven to be like okay, like maybe this guy can be like a new face, like, and a new good receiver for Denver. But I want to see Sutton get some more targets, because he really hasn't been getting them. But I do think the Chargers have the slight edge when it comes to their receiving core. But the defense, I think, is like solid and tied for both ends. But I think Chargers should barely cover.
I think the Chargers barely cover as well, Alec.
You know, and as you mentioned about Troy Franklin, what does help in this case of being wide receiver 2 for the Broncos is familiarity with Bo Nix, because they were teammates.
That's right,
at the Oregon Ducks. Now, the Chargers, they still are a solid team. The Broncos and Chargers are very close. And realistically, I see these two of them claiming 2 of the 3 wildcard spots in the AFC. But I feel this could be realistically the first of 2 home-and-home splits. It's that close. Both defenses are elite. Both offenses are good. Though the big concern about the Broncos is the rushing game that I have for them. But here, I have the Chargers winning this one, and they barely cover.
Yeah, I have the same thing with them. I have the Chargers barely covering. I think their defense is going to take a little bit of a hit with no Khalil Mack for 4 weeks. That's my only concern. But I think they pull it off no matter what. Next up, we got the Saints at the Seahawks. Seahawks 7-point favorite at home. Kevin, any difference?
Minus 6.5 for the Seahawks.
God damn it, ESPN.
I think Seahawks do win, but I don't think they cover this one. I think Saints, just like last week, they'll keep it close. So I think Seahawks win, but they don't cover.
Okay, Alec, we gotta go quick.
Kellen Moore's impressed me in the first 2 weeks, that he has managed to keep his guys close in games and get the Saints into a competitive manner. They know the goal, that they want to get a high draft pick, but they want to keep it close. I still think the Seahawks win, but the Saints cover.
I'm going to go with Alec. I think the Saints cover the 7-point spread. Next up, we got the Dallas Cowboys at the Chicago Bears. Dallas a 1-point road favorite. Kev.
Yeah, 1.5 for me. I mean, like, I want the Bears to beat them so bad. I mean, like, but I feel like Cowboys. I mean, like, I feel like anybody can beat the Bears at this point. But the Bears have shown that they can stay close in games. But actually, you know what? Screw it. I'm going Bears 1.5 because screw the Cowboys.
Honestly, I might go the same way, Alec.
Curveball time. Well, I get the Cowboys are a solid team. Chicago has shown flashes of promise in the first week and the second week at times. They can keep up with anybody, in the area of their tier, which is Minnesota, of course. The Cowboys, this is a team in which they could go up against head to head. Though they won't have Jawan Johnson in this one, this could be a game the Bears could manage to steal at the last moment.
I hope so. I hope so. And listen, I've seen a lot of improvement with this Bears offense. I know they got spanked in week 2 by the Lions, but still, I like where this team is going. I'll take the Bears plus 1.5 as well.
You know what would be real quick? You know what would be awesome karma is if the Cowboys lose against the Bears with like a 60-yard field goal, just like they did to us.
Oh, that'd be sweet. That would be awesome. Sweet. Okay, now we are against the bottom of the hour, so what I'm going to do is we're going to get back to pick first spreads in a little bit. We're going to give a shout out to our sponsor, DAS Technology Consulting. For those of you who want to know how DAS Technology Consulting can help with your IT infrastructure needs, listen to the COO, Darren Sirianni.
Our approach at DAS Technology is simple. At DAS Technology, we offer a very unique approach by providing our clients a single point of contact for all their mission-critical data center demands. DAS Technology Consulting is a global leader in data center services, specializing in delivering cutting-edge, best-of-breed enterprise solutions. With a focus on innovation and reliability, DAS provides worldwide storage, server, and networking solutions that are tailored to meet the evolving demands of the modern data-driven world.
Again, DAS Technology Consulting, that's where it's at for your IT infrastructure needs. Darren Sirianni has 25 to 30 years of IT infrastructure experience. He's great at what he does. And again, can't thank him enough for what he does for this show. Anyway, we're going to get back to fresh spreads really. Now we have a few games left. We got the Cardinals at the 49ers. Mac Jones time again. 49ers minus 2.5. Kev?
Minus 1.5 here for the Niners. I say Cardinals win this game and pull off the slight upset, and I think they cover that 1.5. I do, because got to keep in mind that Mac Jones is going to be the quarterback for the Niners, and also that George Kittle is his injury concerns. And I think that the both running backs are going to be solid. It's going to be a nice battle between James Conner and Christian McCaffrey. But I think Cardinals pull off the upset here, so I'm going to go Cardinals.
You know what? I'm not mad at that, Alec.
Yeah, me neither, because Arizona showed that they can hang in there, that they did survive that scare from Carolina last week. But what impressed me is their defense and the improvement that they've shown in that area. Marvin Harrison Jr. needs to get going, though, because his connection with Kyler Murray isn't quite there. Now, that point was made repeatedly last year, but if there was a game in which they need to take off, it's here. If he wants to make a statement game. Now, San Francisco's offensive line is questionable to me, though they did extend Colton McKivitz earlier in the season. That they kept their long-term right tackle of the future, so that's good news. But for Arizona, this could be a statement game for them, and they'll go over to Santa Clara like they did last year and win.
You know what? I'm going with the Cardinals as well. You want to know why? Because this team was at one point in first place in the NFC West last year. Jonathan Gannon has changed the culture dramatically for this team. Kyler Murray looks a million times, 1,000 times better with him than he did with Cliff Kingsbury. I like this team a lot, and I think they have the potential to win the NFC West, like Alex said in a previous episode. So I'm going with the Cardinals. And then now it leads me to the game that might have to bring me back to Marcus Stewart. Chiefs at Giants. Chiefs minus 6. No Xavier Worthy with a shoulder injury. Kev?
Yeah, it says minus 6.5 for me for the Chiefs. I can't imagine the Chiefs starting 0-3, despite the fact that they've have not been 0-2 to start against or with Mahomes under center. I think the Chiefs should bounce back next week. Psych! I'm going with the Giants plus 6.5. I don't care what anyone says. I think the Giants have played a great game last week, and I think that this is the game, a statement game for them. And I think that they can make it 0-9 against the Chiefs. So I'm going to go Giants. Curveball right there.
Love it. Love it, Alec.
Oh, you know what? No curveballs for me. It's just a fastball down the middle. I'll go ahead and go forth with this. For those anticipating the Chiefs to fall even further, calm down. This team did show improvement against the Eagles last week. Their defense got better in comparison to week 1, and they did hold the Eagles to just barely over 200 yards, and that was despite a losing effort. And despite Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice being out, Tyquan Thornton looks promising in this depth chart, being utilized on deeper routes. Now the Giants, I get they almost pulled it off against the Cowboys, but facing off against the Cowboys and facing off against the Chiefs, that's two completely different tiers of franchise that we're talking about. The Chiefs, of course, are still in that conversation of deep playoff run caliber teams. I can't imagine seeing this team start 0-3. And yes, they haven't beaten the Giants yet on the road, but that changes. They win this game, though the Giants barely cover.
Okay. I'm going to say this right now. I am not going to stand by the Taylor Swift-led Kansas City Chiefs. I am not intimidated by an aging Travis Kelce. I'm not intimidated by Patrick Mahomes anymore. I do not care what the odds makers say about the Giants. We all pulled off in Jerry's World. We're going to be back home in front of our home crowd. We're going to be pissed off that we almost lost that we almost won that game and lost against the Cowboys. And you know what? If Taylor Swift's in MetLife Stadium, guess what? There's going to be bad blood all over your face when the Chiefs lose this game and the Giants win and your team starts 0-3 and your boyfriend contemplates retirement in week 3. And I don't want Marcus Stewart anywhere near me anymore. Giants plus 6 and outright win. I don't care anymore.
Love it. I love it.
Dang.
I'm spiteful now.
Now I'm salty, but in a good kind of way.
Dang.
Okay. Now, before we get off of football entirely, let's go to Foursquare Fantasy 2025. So, I'm 2-0 along with Jake Hogger. We're the only 2-0 teams left. Alec and Kevin ended up being a very close call. It was only a 6-point margin decided. If it weren't for the Charger defense and Keenan Allen, I think that was the only. Yep. That's what saved Kevin. And then also, Ashton Jenkins didn't do Alec any favors. But anyway, I'm playing Alec this week in week 3, and that's why I threw some shade at James Cook earlier, because James Cook got over almost 21 points. But let's go over the lineups for all fantasy teams. All right, let's go with the Blue Blurs. At quarterback, Baker Mayfield. At running back 1, Ashton Jeanty. James Cook already played. CeeDee Lamb, Rome Odunze, Sam Laporta, Devontae Adams, the Texans defense, and your kicker, Chris Boswell.
I had to switch out A.J. Brown. Romo Dunze, you're in. Now it's your shot.
I'll blame you.
That's the better move. That's the better move.
That's the better move. The Eagle wide receivers have sucked in fantasy this year so far.
Brown specifically.
Come on, Kevin Patullo. Come on, man. You can't be scheming up more run plays on anything my wide receivers to cook.
I mean, Cook is cooking.
Cook,
He is.
He cooked halibut perfectly. Just kidding.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, firmly grasp it. Lamar Jackson, Breece Hall, Javonte Williams. I made the change. Puka Nakua, Garrett Wilson, David Njoku, Malik Neighbors, San Francisco defense. I should probably change that. And your kicker, Brandon Aubrey. Boo. Boo.
Oh, you stink.
Oh, brother, that guy stinks.
Automatic.
Seriously. I said kick in the nuts. That really was a kick in the nuts.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, next we're going to go with the Greener Gridiron Grinders against the Hash Slinging Slashers. Greener Gridiron Grinders, say that 5 times. Kyler Murray, Christian McCaffrey, Nico Collins, Jacoby Myers, Trey McBride, Tatora McMillan, Seahawks defense, and their kicker, Jake Bates. And then the Hash Slinging Slashers. Patrick Mahomes, how could you?
He's my only quarterback. There's nothing I can do about it.
Running back, Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker III, Justin Jefferson, Keenan Allen, Tyler Warren, J.K. Dobbins, Packers defense, and your kicker, Cam Little.
Yeah, I made a couple of changes and put Kenneth Walker in there based on matchups and what he did last week. He's going against the Saints team who's garbage. I might switch out Allen for Evans because he's facing the Jets, but I like Allen there. I trust him more. And J.K. Dobbins, I like him in the flex there because I think he's been more consistent than Chase Brown has. That's why I have Chase Brown on the bench right now. That might be a risky move, but I like Dobbins' consistency more. So that's why I put him in there.
All right, that's fair. Now, if I win, I'll go 3-0. Motor City Kitties, the other 2-0 team, is playing my girlfriend, Sammy Myers, Bama Girl underdog. And right now, Josh Allen got him up to a great start. Oh, man. Actually, if the two of us end up being undefeated, we won't meet till week 5. Now, I ain't calling any future shots yet. I'm not Tony Romo where I'm predicting the future. But I'm hoping to God that we get that undefeated clash. That's to be the only undefeated clash we have all season.
Actually, a good one.
Well, is that an audible here? Well, he's killing the play. He's going to call a run to the right on this one.
Good one. Okay. Now we're going to get into Major League Baseball. Now, I've been looking at my TV. I have the Yankee game on over here. They're up 6-0, by the way. But I've also been looking at other scores across Major League Baseball, and there's a reason why, because the playoffs are right around the corner. And I'll give you a couple games as I'm scoreboard watching what's going on across the majors. With the biggest results so far, the Mariners are up 5-0 over the Astros in the bottom of the 6th.
Yes. Let's go, Mariners.
If the Mariners win, they'll have the tiebreaker over the Astros. They wouldn't clinch the division just yet, but then listen to this. So the Guardians are playing a doubleheader against the Twins. They won the first game 6-0. In the second game, they're up 8-0 over the Twins.
Yep.
Now, what will happen is if these two results hold, if Houston loses and the Guardians win, Houston will fall out of wildcard position.
Yep.
Because the
Also-
Guardians have the tiebreaker.
Also, another score, if you're a Yankees fan, the Royals are beating the Blue Jays right now 2-1. It's the top of the 8th inning.
Ooh.
So the AL East is not out of the picture yet.
No, they are
The
not.
AL East is not out of question yet. Now, as far as other relevant games that are going on, so the Mets lost to the Nationals 5-3 in 11 innings, but that's a problem because here come the Reds. They're down. They're up 6-3 over the Cubs in the top of the ninth with 1 out to go. If the Reds win, they'll only be 1 game back, and they have the tiebreaker over the Mets.
Mm-hmm. Lots of tight races down the stretch.
Oh, some really, really tight races. The Brewers are trying to clinch home field in the NL playoffs. They have a 2-game lead over Philadelphia. But right now they're tied at 2, bottom of the 7th against the Cardinals. The Cardinals have really given the Brewers fits. The Phillies are up 3-2 over the Diamondbacks at the bottom of the 4th. And then there's some other irrelevant games. Like the Padres are 5-2 over the White Sox. The Red Sox are actually up 3-2, bottom of the 7th over the Rays. But the Rays have a runner at 3rd. If they get that in, they'll tie the game. Boston's been on free fall mode. So that's another score to keep an eye on. If Boston loses, then I think we might see the end becoming near. Although I will say,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was going to say, if Boston continues to win, that's also, it doesn't bode well for Houston fans too, because they're the only team ahead of them in the for the second wild card spot. So if Red Sox and Guardians keep winning and Astros keep losing, they're going to be out of a playoff spot outright. So if you're a Houston fan, you don't want Boston winning right now.
Also, some pretty good news for Guardians fans. You're celebrating today with a potential sweep of a doubleheader. But in Detroit earlier, the Braves came into Detroit and they were down 5-3 entering the 9th inning. And Will Vest gave up 3 runs in the top of the 9th to give the Braves a 6-5 lead. Detroit never recovered. They lost 6-5. So now that 2.5 game lead that Detroit had coming in today for the AL Central is now going to be down to 1 game. Think of it this way. The Tigers had a 14-game lead in July in the AL Central, and Alec is in disbelief. Look at that face.
Yeah, he was going off on them like in our chat, but before like when we started recording.
Yeah.
Dude.
Alec, do I have to bring out Marcus Stewart?
I am a person of no rooting interest of Detroit sports, but this collapse is driving me nuts. I'm serious when I speak of this. The Guardians were sellers at the deadline.
They were.
And the Tigers' lack of making any impactful moves at the deadline is coming back to bite them in the nuts.
The
only impactful move they made was Kyle Finnegan. Thank goodness that I was completely wrong on them not getting Ryan Helsley, because Helsley has been a flop and a half with the Mets. At least Finnegan is somewhat of an upgrade and that. But good Lord, they needed another impact batter to boost their lineup. In fact, why were you so focusing on mid-reliever or pitching? Why were you so focused on minor moves, minor tweaks, so as you think that this would be sustainable? You're slumping at the worst possible time. And mind you, this is a team that had a 12.5 game lead in the division in late August.
Yeah.
On August 25th, that was the lead that the Tigers had. Cleveland, on the other hand, were sellers, and they had Emmanuel Quase in the midst of a gambling scandal. Where did they come from? You think that there would, of any AL Central team to catch up to the Tigers, that it would be the Royals catching up to them. But now, Kansas City, they're all but done in the playoff hunt. Their season's basically over. They're not officially eliminated yet, but they're out of it. That's what we know. Injuries caught up to them at the worst possible time. But if you think their Braves collapse was bad, oh boy, you're going to have a boatload of popcorn for the Tigers collapse, because this is basically rivaling the Twins collapse of last year.
Right.
Good.
Yeah.
Will Vest blew a save, and what even is happening to this lineup? it's no secret that this lineup was overachieving throughout the year, but you should not be collapsing this badly when you had the division all but essentially wrapped up, at least on paper. Your best hitter is batting .259 on the entire season, and that's Gleyber Torres on a 1-year deal.
Right.
Riley is your face, batting .258. But if you seriously expect that a guy batting .259 all season long would be your best hitter, you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not good at all. And we did get an update actually, and Kevin put this in the chat. The Rays tied it at 3 with the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the bottom of the seventh inning, just concluded. It's 3-3. If the Red Sox lose, this would be madness at its core. Yankees are still taking care of business like they're supposed to against bad teams. Now, I want to go over the remaining schedule for all the teams that are still contending right now for wild card spots. Houston has it easy because their final 2 series after the Seattle series are against the A's, who are quote-unquote easy, and then the Angels, who are just garbage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
The A's, I think, will give the Astros fits.
Yeah,
I agree.
They just got swept by them, didn't they, recently?
The Red Sox, the Red Sox actually lost 2 out of 3 to the A's.
So A's are not easy anymore. They're like tricky. Like, they're a good team, but not a great team yet. But they have talent to play spoiler for sure.
Yeah,
Watch out for this team when they move to Vegas.
Yeah, and as you mentioned about the A's sweeping the Astros, yes, they swept them in a 4-game series earlier.
That's right, yeah.
At their
Unreal.
home ballpark.
Unreal. Mm-hmm. And also, so I want to get back to the Houston game for a second. Houston has runners on the corners with 1 minute out in the bottom of the 6th. Still 5-0, but that could possibly change in a second. Baltimore just added a run. It's 6-1. No biggie. Hopefully, no biggie.
On a ball that was barely fair, too.
That ball just hit the fair line. Yeah. It just stayed fair. So I think one team that really has to be kept an eye on with their schedule, and this could actually make or break them, is the Red Sox, because their final 2 series, they got the Blue Jays and the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, that's tough for them. That really is.
Well, the Tigers are falling apart, but the Blue Jays is the tougher series.
The Blue Jays is a tougher series because the Blue Jays are looking to clinch the division, and they haven't done that yet.
We could possibly see both the Astros and the Red Sox miss the playoffs in this case. Because the Guardians are hot right now, and they could get that final wildcard spot, but you also have to bank on the Rangers getting there too. So I don't know how good the Rangers are doing right now.
Well, the Rangers are losing 4-2 to the Marlins.
They're losing 4-2 right now, but possibly that could happen. I'm not saying it will, but one of those teams I think is going to fall out, and I think it's going to be Houston.
Yeah, it might be Houston, honestly. And think of it, that was another team that had a big division lead.
Dude,
that's right.
I'll be sick to my core if Detroit falls out of it completely.
Honestly, I wouldn't want to be Jay Cogger or Patrick Rush in that situation.
Me neither.
That's crazy if that happens.
That would be a monumental collapse.
Dude, he's livid when I spoke to him.
Who, Patrick Rush?
Yes.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all.
I don't blame him either. And then we're in a Discord with Jake Hogger. You should have seen the response he put. Like, why am I a Detroit sports fan? Why? Like, it was not pretty. It was not pretty.
Dude, this city has had it very tough over the last decade plus.
Oh, it's been bad. It's been bad.
It's all downhill ever since the Red Wings' last championship.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part of it all. Okay. So I put up a poll in the Discord that Kevin and I are in. I asked if the Guardians get in, who's out? And I got 8 votes on that thing. 4 of them said the Red Sox, 2 of them said the Astros, Kevin being one of them. And then I was one of 2 who said the Detroit Tigers. Now, in my opinion, I can see the Tigers missing out because actually I might have to retract that because they do have the tiebreaker over the Red Sox right now. And I think if I'm correct, let me go back and check and see where that series against the Boston Red Sox would be, if it's in Detroit or if it's in Boston. Okay. And then the Red Sox are playing in Toronto. So Boston might be in trouble. Houston might be in trouble. But the thing with Boston is they have the tiebreaker over Houston. So you think of it, 2 wild card spots and 3 teams fighting for it. Mm-hmm. Someone's going to miss out.
And a quick update on the Houston game: they could not get a run in with runners on the corners and 1 out. So it's still 5-0 Mariners after 6 innings. But
Wow.
you're correct, Matt. I was one of the 2 people that voted that Houston was going to be the one to miss the playoffs because of their schedule. Like, this Mariners game is huge, or this Mariners series is huge for them. If they lose this series, even potentially get swept by them, which it seemingly look like they're gonna lose the series because they got not only 9 outs left and until they lose the series. If they get swept, and if Boston keeps winning, and if the Guardians keep winning, and they're going to sweep this doubleheader, like they're going into the bottom of the 9th right now. It's still 8-0 Guardians. Houston's in big trouble, especially and like we said, A's are no gimme. They've struggled against the A's this season. They got swept by them in the 4-game series. Do not expect that to be a cakewalk for Houston because they have not been playing good baseball at the right time. They are collapsing and falling at the wrong time. Same thing with the Blue Jays. Like, they're collapsing at the worst possible time right now. It's still 2-1 in favor of the Royals, bottom of the 8th inning, only 1 out. Yeah, so Houston, I could very much see them being out of the playoffs outright. But Red Sox, I think just hold on, despite how much people think that they're going to be out. I think they just barely hold on until a wild card spot. And yeah, I mean, it's just going to really come down to the stretch. I think Guardians take that final spot.
And I think what you're seeing with Houston and Boston is your star players getting hurt at the worst time. I mentioned Boston losing Roman Anthony at the beginning of the month, and they have gone cold on offense ever since they lost Roman Anthony. And then you talk about the Houston Astros, no Yordan Alvarez, their power batter. That's been detrimental for the offense. Like,
the good news for the Astros is they just got Isaac Paredes back off the IL, but still no Alvarez until maybe like in a week from now. We'll see how his status changes, but still.
Dude, that sprained ankle did not look pretty when I watched that. And boy, you do not want to see the way that ankle twisted. The ankle's not supposed to twist that way when you're stepping on a home plate. That stings. But the good news for Houston at that game was Zach Cole did step up when he was called on in the absence of Yordan.
Well, the Astros are going to have to find next man up right now. Like Kevin said, down 5-0 through 6. Seattle's pitching has been amazing so far this series.
Oh, yeah.
Also,
George Kirby.
You talk about the Seattle's pitching. We just found out right before we started recording that Brian Wu got hurt after having a nice pitching performance last night.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be missing some time. That sucks because Brian Wu is one of the most underrated pitchers in the league, in my opinion. I think he's a fantastic pitcher. And he almost no-hit us, the Yankees. I mean, like, he's been an outstanding pitcher for the Mariners. I don't know what it is about him, but he just always performs and steps up. But he's going to miss some time, so it really sucks.
Now, if you want to hear something crazy, if we go over the AL playoff bracket right now, and this is actually really insane, the 1 seed are the Blue Jays right now. 2 is Seattle. Seattle's the 2 seed. 3,
Crazy.
3 are the Tigers/Guardians, depending on what happens in this final week. 4 are the Yankees, and it looks like they're going to hold on to that 4 seed tightly after today. They're going to firmly grasp it, I should say. 5 are the Red Sox, it looks like, if they can get past the Rays. And then it looks like 6 is going to be the Guardians if things hold the way they are. This would be the first time since July 12th that the playoff bracket field has changed.
Mm-hmm.
First time since July 12th. And I got some fans in here in the background.
Well, well,
Okay, get out of here, Lucy. Get out of here, Lucy. Don't maybe bring up Marcus Stewart.
I jinxed the Giants, didn't I?
You did.
It's all your fault. It's all your fault, Alec.
Yeah, no refunds. No refunds, San Francisco. Go watch the 49ers.
Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah, you did jinx San Francisco. Well, they're up 3-0 right now over the Dodgers. And by the way, the Dodgers clinched their playoff spot last night. Thank you for the hat.
Oh, and also, they got a win on Kershaw's final start at Dodger Stadium.
That's right.
They did. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Clayton Kershaw retired. Legendary
Yeah.
career, 18 seasons. 2 world titles. I guess you can give him the World Series championship from 2024, even though he wasn't on the postseason roster. But listen, he had his postseason struggles early on in his career, but you know what? He rebounded. 3-time Cy Young Award winner, former NL MVP. Like, the guy has a Hall of Fame resume.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unfortunately, he wasn't a great postseason pitcher all the time, but he did everything he had to do to prove himself as one of the best.
Yes.
And Lauro Antonio, my good friend, who's also a diehard Dodgers fan, was like, it's a hard day for Dodger fans. It's going to be different. But, you know, I think the Dodgers are ready for a change. I think I'm looking at their rotation right now. Obviously, they got Yamamoto and Blake Snell and what have you. But I think they're going to be good for years to come, the Dodgers, as far as rotation goes. But that's a huge loss. But the writing was on the wall for Kershaw. It was on the wall.
Yeah, definitely. A quick update, by the way. Guardians just won and just took the doubleheader, so now they're only behind a half game now. And
Wow.
I think they're going to be scoreboard watching the Mariners as they just took a 6-0 lead right now.
They did. Oh my God.
goodness. Well, my mood just changed from a 180 hearing the Guardians winning and then the Mariners scoring.
Where is John Welch when you need him? John, we miss you, buddy.
Yeah, we miss you so much.
Also, Red Sox could not score. They had runners on first and third, 2 outs, could not score. It's still 3-3 after in the bottom of the 8th.
Oh
Dude,
my God.
How much fits do the Rays give the Red Sox?
Apparently a lot.
Apparently a lot. Like, Tampa Bay's been giving a lot of people fits, believe it or not. Like, they're out of it, but they're giving people fits. It's, you know what's amazing to me? It's the fact that all these games are competitive and they're high-profile games at the very right time. It's not like it's these postseason spots are decided well before and we're just jockeying for seeding position at this point. A lot of these are competitive games in high-profile series. Like, honest to God, I didn't – like, if you told me the Mariners were going to possibly win the AL West, which would be the first time it's not Houston since 2015, I would have said you're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it 2016?
No, it's 2015. I last looked up. The Astros won the division in 2016. 2017, they won the World Series. 2018, they won. 2019, they won. I'm not counting the COVID year because that was 60 games and the A's were in first place in that division anyway. But 21, 22, 23, 24, they were in first place.
All right. Gotcha on that. But what a chaotic sequence of events over the later stages. And honest here, the latter half of the regular season, the MLB, is the best time to watch regular season baseball.
And then also the postseason race is also the most enticing part of it all.
Oh, for sure.
Now, I mentioned the AL side of it all. Let me go to the NL side of the field at this point. So the Brewers are currently tied at 2, bottom of the 8th, against the St. Louis Cardinals, who have been giving them fits. But right now, they would be the number 1 seed in the National League playoffs. 2 are the Phillies. They're hot. They're hot right now. The Dodgers are looking like a 3 seed. They'll probably clinch the NL West eventually. The Padres, every time they have an opportunity to cut the deficit down, they can't do it. So the Cubs are currently in wild card position, and they're probably going to settle for a wild card because the Reds beat them to prevent them from cutting another game off Milwaukee's lead. Actually, let me just do the math really quick. So if they're 88-67, let's say the Brewers win, 95-60, 88-67. So it would be 7 with 7 games to go, but the Cubs have the tiebreaker. So Milwaukee would have to hold on this game. They'd have to win this game and then hold on another game in order to clinch the division officially.
Mm-hmm.
So the Cubs would be 4, Padres would be 5, the Mets would be 6 as of now, but the Reds are right on their heels.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I love this time of year.
Oh, the best. Now, if it's not the Giants that could pass the Mets, could it be the Reds?
Possibly. Giants, by the way, are up 3-0 in the first inning, and they got bases loaded 2 outs against the Dodgers.
Oh my God.
Oh my. Now, the Marlins and Cardinals are not out of it, but let's just face it, they're only delaying the inevitable.
They really are delaying the inevitable, yeah.
Pretty much,
the Cardinals are trying to pick off the Brewers again, like they've been doing all season long. But it's not going to really mean anything. It might hurt the Brewers' chance of getting the 1 seed, but they'll probably be a top 2 seed no matter what. Actually, if I'm the Brewers right now, I'd try my hardest to keep the 1 seed Because the last thing I want to do is play the Dodgers in the division series.
For sure. You'd rather be wanting to play, say, either one of the Cubs or the Padres in the division series. Whoever comes out that 4-5 matchup.
Exactly. And I think the Giants just walked a run in. Yep, they did. So it's 4-0 Giants. Oh, my goodness.
Correct. Still bases loaded.
Still bases loaded. This is crazy. The Rays are also bottom of the eighth. 1 man out, 1 man on in the bottom of the eighth. If they get a run and take the lead, they'd have to put in one of their relievers. I think it's still they still have that guy
Fairbanks?
from 20. Yeah, they probably have to put in P. Fairbanks in order to get the save here and knock Boston off again. That's crazy.
Oh my goodness. Everything about this day or these days for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Okay. Now, we do have some time. I want to get into our 4-square 4-leg parlays of the week. And by the way, for those of you who want to bash me for betting WNBA basketball for my 4-square 4-leg parlay, I tried. I was pretty good on calling the Fever covering against the Atlanta Dream, but you're talking to a guy who watches WNBA probably once every 7 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God!
For what it's worth, I do think the Fever are like stepping up with Caitlin Clark being hurt. So
it's amazing, actually. Now that I'm mentioning this, the Fever had a bunch of people who were hurt, not just Caitlin Clark, and they still managed to pull it off by 2 in Atlanta.
Well, as they say, next woman up.
Next woman up, exactly.
There you go.
Okay, now it's time for our 4-square 4-leg parlays of the weekend. This is where we pick 4 bets, regardless of sport, regardless of spread, money line, you name it, prop bets, you name it. This is where we pick our 4-square 4-leg parlays. It could be a mix of sports, it could be a mix of anything you want. But if you hit it, you better thank us for that. So Kevin, what is your 4-square 4-leg parlay of the week?
All right, we'll start off with college football. Now, this game hasn't started yet. Now, it starts at 10 o'clock at my time, 10 o'clock p.m. It's Michigan State on the road against the USC Trojans. Give me the Michigan State Spartans at plus 19.5. I like that matchup because both those teams are perfect 3-0, and they have perfect records so far. But I like Michigan State in this matchup against USC. So give me Michigan State plus 19.5 on the spread. We'll do a baseball matchup tonight. Actually,
Okay.
let me go. Sunday, yeah, tomorrow. So tomorrow's Sunday. Mariners, Astros. Give me the Mariners at the money line at minus 145. I think Mariners do sweep the Astros tomorrow, so give me that one. And finally, we'll do a couple of NFL ones for tomorrow for Sunday. Let's go with the Broncos and Chargers. I do like the over there on over 45.5 points. I think both teams are going to be high scoring, so give me over 45.5 points for Broncos and Chargers. And finally, the Chiefs and the Giants. Give me Giants plus 6.5. That's right. I said it like when we did our fresh spreads, but give me the Giants simply out of spite because they should have won last game. Give me Giants plus 6.5. That's my 4-square sports 4-leg parlay.
All right, Alec, you're up. 4-square 4-leg parlay of the week.
All right. So in my first 2 are NFL base. So Dallas at Chicago. Romo Dunze over 80 receiving yards in that game in the Bears' victory, as it said. Then the next one, Lions at Ravens. Ravens over 150 team rushing yards.
Like it.
All right. Now going over to baseball for the Mariners and Astros. Logan Gilbert, at least 5 strikeouts in the game.
Like it.
And the last one, shifting over to New Hampshire, where NASCAR is going to be at. Denny Hamlin gets a 6th win of the season.
I know you love your racing, so I respect that you put one of those legs in there as a racing prop bet. All right, now it's my turn. I'm gonna start off with some baseball because I'm a baseball guy. All right, I'm gonna start off with the Cubs and Reds. Give me the over 9 runs between both teams. This is tomorrow's Cubs-Reds game. I'll say over 9 runs. Then we'll go to – I'm going back to WNBA, which is my hypothetical bread and butter. I'll take the Vegas Aces minus 8.5 over the Fever. And then, like Kevin, +6 Giants over the Chiefs. And then my last one, I'll say Bengals and Vikings over 41.5 points. Despite two backup quarterbacks, these two have been able to sling it out in the past.
Kevin?
Yep, over 41.5 points.
Kevin?
Right.
What?
That's right. I put it in the chat. Quick update on them MLB scores. The Blue Jays just lost.
Oh my
to the
God!
Royals 2-1.
No way.
Oh
That's right.
my God!
They just lost. The Yankees are still up 6-1 into the ninth inning right now. So if they hold, Yankees are only back by 2 games. behind the Blue
Hypothetically
Jays.
3 because they don't have the tiebreaker.
Technically 3 because the Blue Jays are the tiebreaker, but they will be gain a game if Yankees hold on right now.
Oh my God!
And meanwhile, Astros bases loaded, bottom of the 7th, 2 outs.
Oh,
Gotta get
Also-
one more out here to lead them all
Yep.
3 stranded.
yep. Wow.
Also, Red Sox have the go-ahead run at second base, and they have nobody out right now in the ninth.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I also baseball here. We might be doing scoreboard watching. This might be like
This is incredible.
It's
All right,
just
so
it's
we-
that
we-
time of year. It's that time of year.
Yeah.
we'll scoreboard watch for another 11.5 minutes and probably get into a couple other things on the way. But actually, we could do some scoreboard watching for college football before we actually go back to MLB baseball.
Yeah, I do
So-
want to mention about when you discuss another things. On the same day which Clayton Kershaw announced his retirement, Anshay Kopitar announced that this season will be its last with the Los Angeles Kings. He's
Wow.
retiring as well.
I heard that. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to go to the Week 4 college football scoreboard. Here's the results that have happened so far. This one's going to sicken me to my core. Rutgers played a high-profile competitive game to open conference play against Iowa at home. They lost 30-28. Other scores, North Texas beat Army 45-38 in a shootout in overtime. Clemson falls to 1-3. They lost to Syracuse 34-21. This was earlier today.
And very shocking.
Very, very surprising result.
They-
Texas Tech has beaten Utah 34-10. This was also earlier today. A Big 12 competitive game between 2 ranked teams, high profile. Like Kevin said, North Carolina is bummed. They lost to UCF 34-9. Bill Belichick can't catch a break. We'll get into that, I guess, for a second.
Oh, well, and Clemson can't catch a break either. You want to hear something crazy? They have more lightning delays than they have wins this year.
That's terrible. That's actually dreadful.
Utterly.
But the ACC just doesn't look good right now. Your top 2 teams that were supposed to be juggernauts are either 2-2 or 1-3.
Quick
Clemson.
quick updates for in terms of scoring for college football. Remember the good season that Indiana had last year? They have completely carried it over to this year. They're up 35-10 against Illinois right now at the half.
Wow.
So that's one. And 2, who had both Vanderbilt and Georgia Tech being undefeated so far, both winning their contests. Georgia Tech beating Temple 45-24, and Vanderbilt beating Georgia State, or they're beating Georgia State right now 35-9.
That's crazy. Now, also quick little thing back to baseball. Jeremy Pena hit a grand slam. It's now 6-4 Seattle.
Whew.
Walter White falling down onto the ground
Mhm.
in disbelief. That's the reaction.
Seriously.
But side note, I did expect Georgia Tech to be good because they're a program on the rise, but Vanderbilt, they came out of left field.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. And you know what? I think it was that win against Alabama last year that really got them going.
I was going to say like that. I know they always have one big upset every single season. I thought that was going to be the end of it this year, but like they've been proving themselves along with Georgia Tech that they can be a good teams, and they can beat good teams. And so far, they're both undefeated right now.
Yeah, they're both looking really, really good. Other games I wanted to go over college as far as results. Oregon beat Oregon State 41-7, no surprise. Notre Dame got their first win of the year. They beat Purdue 56-30, although it's kind of too little too late.
They needed that.
They needed that win, but honestly, there's very little margin for error now at this point in the year, especially if losing to 2 ranked teams. Michigan barely survived against Nebraska 30-27. Ole Miss beat Tulane 45-10. Oklahoma knocked off Auburn barely 24-17. Georgia Tech, as Kevin mentioned, are undefeated. They won against Temple 45-24. And then Kansas beat West Virginia 41-10. Now, as far as games that are active right now, we're going to go to South Carolina against Missouri. That is just coming to the end of the third, and is 2018's Gamecocks. And also, we have Miami and Florida. A lot of implications here as far as the job security of the Florida head coach. 13-0 Hurricanes as we start the second half. And then Vanderbilt 35-9 over Georgia State. Not really much of a surprise there. And then 10-10 Arizona State Baylor, as well as a couple other things we'll get into. Kev, your take?
I feel bad for Florida Gator football fans because, I mean, like we mentioned, that schedule is so brutal. But also, I don't feel bad at the same time because you beat my UH Cougars in basketball and you won the national championship and stole from us. So I do not care one bit. I take that back. I don't care that you're losing in football. I don't care about that. So,
probably just fake a shot while having your feet on the floor and then hit the game-winning free.
Because we're winning it all next year or this year. I'm calling
You
it.
know what?
You're calling it. You're
I hope they
guaranteeing it.
Guaranteed. Oh, okay.
I don't know. I think they'll get back there, but I'm not going to guarantee anything. I think they'll get back there. I think they'll get back there.
Oh, man. It actually would have been much sweeter if Calvin Sampson's 800th win was the national championship.
Oh, that would have been great.
Dude, I'm still traumatized by that last play. That Sharp is not faking the dribble and just not doing a simple play to shoot up a three and not pat. I'm still that ruined me, man. That ruined me.
I know.
Right after we beat Cooper Flagg and Duke, who and now Flagg and Knipple are in the NBA. We beat that team.
I know.
I would have thought that Florida would have been an easier matchup, but whatever, man. Got to move on.
It is what it is. All right, we got to go back to MLB because we got a big score update here. Boston has just taken the lead, 4-3 in the top of the ninth with one out. It was Trevor Story who hit an RBI single that scored Sedan, Rafaela, and Alec just hit a single. Boston has runners on the corners with 1 minute away in the top of the ninth.
Make it 5-3. The score just changed. Boston's up 5-3 now.
Oh, my God.
Masataka Yoshida.
Yep. Masataka Yoshida just hit an RBI. So this is basically going to be like squeeze play, except it's for Square Sports. We'll call it what do we call this? Scoreboard watching. We're like red zone and squeeze play put together.
Red
squeeze? I don't know.
We'll think of a name for it, but Scott Hansen will call games like these or moments like these the witching hour.
Yeah, he does. You wait. All right, so the Yankees got David Bednar in right now to close out. They got 2 outs left to go. We got maybe 4.5 minutes left to scoreboard watching before we get to Fresh Founder Fried.
Oh, it is the witching hour, everybody, where wins turns into losses.
Where wins become losses and losses become wins.
Yep.
Correct. That is correct.
All right, so Max Muncy hit a 2-run home run, by the way, for the Dodgers, so it's 4-2 Giants.
Oh, I'll just say I am looking forward to Oregon versus Penn State next weekend.
That should be fun.
Good. I feel like it's gonna be a really good game. Yeah.
That's going to be a Big Ten championship rematch from last year, isn't it?
At Happy Valley.
Wow. Yeah, it amazes me. The Big Ten is so good, and the SEC is trying to compete, and I don't think they can. Because think of it, with Ohio, with the Big Ten, you got the defending national champions who are number 1 in the country. Penn State looks dominant as Bednar just gets another strikeout. 1 left. So, Oregon, you got Penn State, Ohio State. Michigan's competitive, even though I don't think they match up to the Buckeyes anymore, although they beat them pretty consistently. I just can't get used to this new Big Ten with the 4 teams from across from the Pacific Northwest in there. 4 Pac-12 teams. Like, get out of here. This ain't authentic Big Ten football.
It just looks wrong.
And we got another result. The New York Yankees have won it 6-1 over the Orioles. They pick up another game. They're 1 step closer to a playoff spot. And also, over the course of that game, I mentioned it, John Carl Stanton hit his 450th career home run, and Aaron Judge hit career number 364.
And number 49. Yep.
So the Yankees are 2 games officially behind the Blue Jays.
Technically 3.
Technically 3. Yes, exactly.
Technically 3, yeah.
Technically 3. So wow, that's I actually can't believe it. But the Yankees, we talked about the Tigers being a 14-game lead in their division late August. This was a team that was up 7 games in their division at one point early in the year.
Correct.
And they let that choke away. But they have a chance to right the ship. They have a chance to right the ship and make things right in the late going. I mean, it helps the Yankees have the White Sox and Orioles on their schedule to conclude the season. Now,
true. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was saying, I remember that big rant I made like 3 months ago about the Yankees and how awful they were in that stretch in June, July, and they were 3 games out of the division at that point. And here we are now coming down to the end of September. They are now only 2 games behind now. So they have right the ship, like you said. They have figured out ways to win. They cut the dead fat since that by cutting guys like Peraza, Vivas, finally getting rid of Marcus Stroman, getting rid of DJ LeMahieu, and then finally deciding to bench Volpe for Caballero. But now they're starting to play him again, and their acquisitions, especially Bednar, have been great at the deadline. Doval, not so much to an extent. Bird is still pitching in the minor leagues. I don't anticipate him to come back. But now all of a sudden the Yankees magic number to get to clinch a postseason berth is now 5. And I mean, like, I think wild card is pretty much set in stone at this point. But now with the Blue Jays slumping at the right time, or I guess the worst time in this, you can say, and the Yankees being hot at the right time, especially against lower teams, the division is still in reach. They're only behind 2 games, again, technically 3, because of the tiebreaker that the Blue Jays own against the Yankees. But you can't count out the Yankees now when it comes to getting the division. They can get the bye by themselves if they storm back, just like how the Cleveland Guardians are doing. They can get the final wild card spot back tonight if the Mariners and Astros game holds up. It's the bottom of the 8th. It's still 6-4 Mariners, by the way, for that one.
And also another result, the Red Sox added another run in the top of the 9th. It's 6-3 Red Sox. Okay. Now, you did some scoreboard watching. That actually felt pretty good. I might want to do this again for next week. But it's time for my favorite segment of the show. It's called Fresh, Fine, or Fried. This is the segment where one of us goes on a 2.5-minute vent on anything they're passionate about. It can be sports related. It doesn't have to be sports related. And after your 2.5-minute vent, we rate your take on a scale of 3 things: fresh meaning good, fine meaning okay, or fried meaning you're absolutely fried. Go back to Staten Island. But that's a term that Staten Island people use. That's where the fried comes in. Alec is on the hot seat this week. I think he gave us a little hint of what's to come, but I'm not gonna assume things. Alec, 2.5 minutes. Are you ready?
Yes.
Go.
All right. Curveball, because what I point out on our chat is not what I'm talking about. And while, yes, it's true the Dolphins gave the Bills a run for their money, what we're seeing from the Dolphins to start off this year is a culmination of the most incompetently run NFL franchise of the entire century. It's been 25 years in which the Finns have won a playoff game, and they don't have any of that in the Stephen Ross ownership era or any division titles. Don't say 2008, because in that year, he owned half the team, with Wayne Huizenga owning the other half. They made the playoffs 3 times since then, losing every single time. Now, yes, they did give the Bills a run for their money. They did show some promise. But at the same time, they're in dire need of a complete reset. A players-only meeting after week 1 is a case for alarm to consider. Mike McDaniel did get his guys ready to play, but we're still not ruling out the possibility of him getting fired mid-season, because it looked at times that he completely lost his mojo. That energy he displayed in games earlier in the year, it looked to be gone. Players are showing up late to practices, and they're getting away with it. There's no accountability in the locker room. Players are getting away with all these antics of not showing up those have to be taken into account of strike systems.
1 minute remaining.
A strike system. But at the same time, he did improve Tua Tagovailoa. However, his limitations on Tua's limitations are holding the Finns back. What used to be one of the best offenses in the league is getting compromised for the limitations that they all have. The defense is getting worse every passing year after Brian Flores left. And that 1 year when they had Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator looks like a one-year wonder. Having some of the best skill position players doesn't matter if you don't have the team around to help them. They don't have a legit CB1. Who is it right now? Rasul Douglas? Or you're cooked if you have Rasul Douglas being your CB1. Chris Greer is the 6th longest tenured pure general manager in the league, but he's well overstayed his welcome on the club. Nearly every move he's made has been a mistake, and he and the front office have strayed away from making moves that improve the team this summer. It's not just the defense, it's also the offensive line. Just blow it up already, Miami.
Right at the buzzer. Well done. All right, Kev, fresh, fine, or fried?
I'll say for the most part fresh, but like I will argue that I think that the Browns I think are a worse organization at this point in time than the Dolphins are. So I'll say combining those two, I'll say between fresh and fine. So it's like finally fresh. I'll say that in that sense.
Fine.
But yeah, I agree with everything that Alex said with the Dolphins. I mean, that organization is poorly run. I mean, like Greer, like I think like he needs a complete overhaul on this team. Mike McDaniel could be the first. We discussed Mike McDaniel on how he could potentially be the first head coach fired by season's end. And the Dolphins they just have not been anywhere like really since like the 70s. If I'm to be completely honest, I think that was when they had the perfect season, right? Where they undefeated and won the Super Bowl. That's really the last time I think that the Dolphins have been like you've really heard about them in terms of like having a dominant season. I'll say that but I would argue that the Browns have been a worse organization because name the last good. I'm talking good quarterback that the Browns have had. I'll wait. Oh no, crickets, because they really haven't had one. Like in their entire Baker Mayfield. Sure. Baker Mayfield had like what the one good year where I think they beat this. I think the Steelers in the first round. Sorry to bring that back up again, Alec. They beat the Steelers in the first round, and then that was really it. That was the last time. Remember when they had Deshaun Kaiser as their quarterback? And they had
God,
good Lord!
They went 0-16. And Browns, I think they've had only 3 or 4 quarterbacks who have had winning records as a starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Like the Browns are not good at running the organization. And they're also like, I don't like to put like stereotypes on it, but it seems like the Browns like to sign like people that have like a criminal record or like people that have getting into trouble because like we've seen it with Deshaun Watson, Kareem Hunt has gone in there. Like there's just they give these guys chances, but like they should be lucky they're still playing in the league. But like I think it's just a reflection about how like poorly run that particular organization is. But I definitely 100% agree that Dolphins are right there as one of the worst runs organizations for years to come. So I'll say freshly fried.
I'll say fresh, and here's why I'm going to say fresh. As we get runners in second and third, Astros at the plate. Oh boy, Astros might be trying to come back here. But as far as Alex take go, I'm going to say fresh, and here's why. I think we have to take this in the context of teams that are trying to be competitive and trying to put up a good product when they really can't. The Dolphins have given you hope for the last few years now with Tua, with Mike McDaniel, and they've whet your palate. They make you feel good, but at the end of the day, they don't do well. And then when they're in the weeds like this, where they're 0-3 now, and you see players missing practice, Tyreek Hill having off the field problems, and then Mike McDaniel handling it the way he has. Chris Greer hasn't really drafted too well. It's a disappointment. It's disappointing because you want this team to do better, and they're not. And that's the disappointing part of it all for Dolphin fans. I will agree with Kevin on one thing. The Browns are a worse dysfunction of a team than the Dolphins are because this is a team that, folded or moved in 1995 and then came back to Cleveland in 99. Guess how many starting quarterbacks they've had since 1999?
Maybe like 100 or something.
Like 31, 32 QBs.
Close enough.
Since they returned to the NFL.
Oh, yeesh.
And, we give, Stephen Ross a lot of flack. People need to look at Jimmy Haslam, too. and see how bad that organization has been. I mean, I know we've insulted guys like Mike Brown, and we've insulted guys like, well, we didn't really give John Elway some stuff, but he hasn't been an angel either. But Jimmy hasn't been bad, but Stephen Ross, obviously with the Brian Flores allegations, like those have really put the team in a pit. And like, I don't know how to put this right now because my brain's fried. I'm part of, unlike Alex Tate, my brain's a little bit fried. But anyway, the Dolphins have been a team of toxicity, if you will. And I think Stephen Ross is part of it all. And you saw that Mike McDaniel gave you some good vibes. You know, he was supposed to be this mastermind nerd with the glasses who loves Tua, yada, yada, yada. But I peel back the onion and I'm like, Tua's only gotten concussed a lot. I'm not making fun of Tua's injuries. I'm saying the guy's been concussed a lot. He hasn't stayed healthy. And then when they play games without Tua, Seattle is making a pitching change. Okay. So when the Dolphins play without Tua, they become a shell of themselves. I mean, look at what Tyler Huntley has done. Look at what some of the other backup quarterbacks have done without Tua Tagovailoa.
Skylar Thompson.
Skylar Thompson, that's a good one. But this team can't run the offense properly without Tua. And it shows the ineffectiveness of Mike McDaniel as a coach. We talk about next man up all the time when teams lose their star players. Mike McDaniel doesn't know next man up. Like, without Tua Tagovailoa, the Dolphins are like a preschool offense. And that's the disappointing part of it all. Like, this team gives you hope. They win big games. Tua Tagovailoa has shutouts. He beats the Bills once or twice in the Blue Moon or puts up competitive outings against the Bills. And then he gets hurt. And it's like, well, I want this man to survive and have a life after football. But the team is also suffering. So the Dolphins are in a really big a really big hole right now. And they need to turn things around. And I don't think they're going to be able to.
Ooh. It's bad for them.
It's bad. But Alec definitely fresh on that take. Okay. We've had a really good 2 hours here of scoreboard watching, etc. But it's also time to get back to our sponsor. That is DAS Technology Consulting. So for those of you who don't know what DAS Technology Consulting is and the partners that they work with to meet your IT infrastructure needs, again, take it away, Darren Sirianni.
Our mission is to deliver high quality, scalable, and secure data center services that ensure seamless operations for clients across various industries, offering best-in-class data center services all under one roof.
And again, thank you, DAS Technology Consulting, for sponsoring this show. It's always a pleasure to have you work alongside us. And one last scoreboard update. The Astros did not score a run in the eighth inning. It's still 6-4 Seattle. And I hope the Mariners finish the job. First off, this has been awesome. I love doing this. And yep, exhale. This has been awesome. I wish John Welch was here so he could brag about Seattle as far as the Seahawks and the Mariners go. Yeah. God bless you, John. We miss you here. We can't wait to have you back. Now, the month of October, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Alec, Kevin, John, and I will talk about October because October, I got a lot of stuff going on. But I'm intended to keep this show afloat no matter what. Because Daughtry exists, and I'm seeing them at Stone Pony. I'm going to Alabama to see the Crimson Tide play, Sammy's idea, and a bunch of other things. But anyways, follow us on our WordPress site. Follow us on Instagram. From Kevin, Alec, I'm Matt Sirianni. God bless you all. Have a good day. We will see you next week, and keep those sports antennas up high. This has been Foursquare Sports, which is sports at score. Take care, everybody. Take care. Good night.
Hi, everybody. Christopher Mad Dog Russo here. And you know what I do? Foursquare Sports on Sunday nights, 6 to 8, with all those parts of the country taken care of. Listen all the time. You got it. Mad Dog on Mad Dog Unleashed. Listen to my guys. Listen to my guys.